Over I can see what. They would make that. What they are, yours and, and yours down there, yours and, that's probably, so. Part of that, but I'll bring it up. Yeah. And agents are more looking for the vision generators. And obviously they want that they can get it for free rather than paying for it. Yep. And like it says this time. Yeah. But again, if guess I don't want, you know, something like it, probably not. But yeah, but this is something that's always, you know, probably gonna be really good by, you know, it's so. Cool. All right. Sounds good.
Okay. How's it going?
How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people in the office. I think our biggest challenge today is.
Yeah, but
I asked my to go ahead and cancel that. There's two next week. There's not today. They asked me and I wanted to be so it seems like there's no. Exactly. So, and the farm was great. Yeah. Chair. It was very hard to connect. Over there. But it's yeah, it's at 1:30.
Well, let it know. There's only a lot of going on, they're crazy. Yeah. Why do you want to go?
But I'd love to actually go stay there. So.
And you can give them.
Okay.
Yeah, the one today is
The one every day.
0 to.
Same bug, the time. I never got that. The whole time. It was
We've already canceled.
Whoever stayed in the had something.
You're on. But we can check.
2 days into it.
That's what Tuesday when it sends it out. But Jordan.
Really bad, so.
People are always late, so let's go ahead and get started.
But luckily, it was just like 24-hour thing. It's terrible. Yeah, my daughter's, that was the day we were pulling back in, so I was really nervous about traveling with her being sick. It was a little rough. Yeah. So. We're back, and we're here.
All right, crew. We're gonna get started. We'll kill a few minutes while Ruby's seeing if she can go around with some more people. Nick, you have anything for us? I guess
Yeah.
we're here for a reason.
Yeah, just to say hi, get my face out here again. Good to see you guys. Nick with North Star Title down on the first floor. See a couple new faces here.
We've got a lot online.
A lot online. So hello, everybody. So I always try and give you guys a little bit of information, things that we're seeing in the industry as we're going through. It's a little slow right now. We're picking things back up. I'm seeing things building into February. I have some settlement deadlines into March even. So things are picking back up, which is good. So we're starting to see signs of that. One of the things to always remember though, I'm seeing this a couple times. If it's a cash deal, unfortunately, unless we can get them to close at the same title company with us, it has to close at the seller's title company. So if you've got a cash deal where you're representing the buyer, as much as we'd love to help, it's got to close wherever the sellers are closing. And in Utah, we always allow for split transactions. It's weird for lenders outside of the state. They're like, you don't just handle both sides. And so in Utah, it's great because it spreads the business around a bit. But when we do have those cash transactions, it does have to close at the other title company. So for the seller. So just keep that in mind. Some other things that we're seeing as well is we want to make sure that when you are representing the buyer, that you are advising them to wire in their funds instead of bringing a cashier's check or a personal check for their cash to close. And the reason that is because a lot of times you're wanting to do those same day closings and you're wanting to get those things done same day. A cashier's check and a personal check can kind of delay that, and from a title company yet. This is because our bank has to verify those funds as well. And so if we're wiring in those funds, and we can send out those wiring instructions days before so that they have those ready to go and they can wire in those funds. You definitely want to wait until you have a final amount from the lender. So if you're like with Inspiro, you're working with Inspiro, you want to make sure that you have that verified and balanced amount with the lender, so they're not just wiring in something and then all of a sudden they're $52.35 short, just for purposes here. So you want to make sure that you have that final amount there. Yeah.
Make a wire over, right?
You can definitely wire over.
to get-
Yep. And then they would just get a check back. And so that's always helpful too. That's always an option. And we say, do a couple hundred or 1,000 over. And then that way don't have to worry about it. Then we can just wire the funds back to them. So that's always an option too. But wiring is always best. If wiring is not an option, or they're really fickle about paying that wire fee from their bank, some banks charge $25, $30 to wire those funds in. They can do a cashier's check. Just make sure they bring it in the day before, because it usually takes about 24 to 48 hours to verify those funds on a cashier's check. But always push if you can for a wire. But again, there are extenuating circumstances. So, and with title companies, and any title company is pretty much going to be on this, it has to be checks, because we run by paper trails. So we've got to have something to follow along. People say, do you take Venmo? Do you take cash? Take Bitcoin? I've been offered Bitcoin before. We can't take those things. So it's got to be in the form of either a wire. I did do a CE class last month. The Fed is going to be doing a new form of payment that I think is going to be implemented this next year. It's very similar to like Venmo and PayPal. It's going to bring them into the 21st century rather than just doing wires for everything. It's going to be implemented here soon. So hopefully we'll be starting seeing that a little bit more, where they're able to just send funds in via an app or something, like transfer, things like that. So it's going to be an other option to wires. I'm betting that there'll be limits to that. If you're going to be wiring in, over $1 million or something like that, I'm betting a wire is still going to be there. But for those lower amounts, I think there's going to be tiers for things like that. So that's going to be coming up. So just look for that as well. I don't know exactly when that's going to be implemented, but that's on the horizon. So those are things that we're hearing, we're seeing. If you guys have any questions while you've got a title professional up here at all for anything you've got questions for. Okay.
All thanks.
All right. If you ever do have questions or need anything, or just a drink and a snack, come on down to the first floor, North Star Title. We'd love to help you out. Thanks so much, everybody.
Cool. Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Dylan, what you got?
All right, I know I shared this probably a month or so ago, just how much, because obviously the market's heating up a little bit. There's still some deals to be had. So this is how much you can ask for in seller concessions depending on the loan type. So each loan is going to be different. As much as 6% you can get from the seller, or as low as 2%. So it just depends on the loan type and what we're doing there. So I think the biggest thing though, that correlates to buying down the rate. Does anyone have any idea how much it costs to buy down the rate 1%?
Is it 5,000, 6,000,
Almost.
7,000?
Right now, I just priced one out today. So 750 credit score, minimum for FHA, 3.5% down. It was just over $10,000. And for $10,000, it was buying it down 1.25. Okay.
For the lifelong.
For the life of the loan.
Nice.
This is not a 2-1, not a 3-2-1. Just a traditional buy down. That's for FHA. Yes, Taylor?
Does it vary as far as the buy down goes for FHA conventional, or does it typically?
It's pretty same. So I pulled numbers for both.
Okay.
So FHA for 10 grand, it was, like I said, it was buying you down about 1.25 for 10 grand. And FHA for 10 grand, it was about for this particular kind of scenario was 1.125. So just a little bit less for conventional, and every loan's different. So if you have higher credit, the buy down is going to be cheaper. If you have lower credit, it's going to be more expensive. You're putting more money down, it'll bring that buy down the cost cheaper. So just you have to look into that. And so you can say for 1% of the loan for interest rates going to save you anywhere from $300 to $500 a month. So it can be huge. It can really help out. Like I have some loans going right now where we're like, okay, if we get this rate, we can actually extend your pre-approval up a little bit higher just because your DTI is a little bit lower. So if you have questions about that, let me know. Any other questions about rate buy downs and what you can do there?
Is there a max that you can buy down?
Yes, there is. So what we do, it's called a points and fees test.
Yeah.
So VA is a little bit different. Generally, you'd only buy it down 2% total in discount points.
Right.
So if you look at the $10,000, that's going to be equate to, I think it was just like 2.2%. That's what the equates. but that's with VA, but FHA and conventional, what we'll do is we'll run it's called a points and fee test. And as long as it clears it, generally it's 3% of all closing costs and bona fide fees, so. We can just run it and we can see, so pretty much in all these files I'm doing right now, I'm running the max buy down. I can say, okay, Lindsay, we can get your client down. If you get $15,000, we can buy him down 1.75. And that's the max we can do, or it might be 1.5, depending on the loan type. So you just need to run through that and just see what it looks like.
Nice. Cool.
Any other questions?
What are rates looking like today?
Rates are getting better, actually. They compared to last week on Thursday, Friday, they've actually gone down about a quarter of a point, which is really good. So they're getting better right now. So right,
6.2.
yeah, 6.1, yeah, 6.2 is 6.191 for conventional, then FHA is a little bit lower than that. So
Great.
so if you have any questions, I'll leave these here. This is just a little cheat sheet that helps you. So if you have a transaction, you know exactly how much you can ask for. Like even it goes some conventional, if they're putting more than 25% down, you can ask for 9% of the purchase price in concessions. So it's a lot. So it'll cover everything. You can max out everything. And so, yeah, I'll leave these over here. So you guys want to know if you have any questions, just come over, talk to me.
Okay. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hey, everyone online as well, if you guys want that information, we can send it out, or Dylan Cooley has it in the office. Real quick, we have Mark Davis here with American Home Shield Warranty, and they're a preferred warranty company. They're amazing. So Mark, did you want to come up for just a minute? Hey, guys. Thank you for
Okay.
being here.
Thank you for having us. Mark Davis again with American Home Shield. One of the things that has been brought up a lot lately is a lot of grandma houses seem to be going up for sale. So these are houses that have old appliances in them. And I'm getting calls from realtors. They're saying, this house is like had the same appliances since the 1950s, 1960s. You know, this stuff's gonna wear, it's on its edge. And our question is it working? If it's working, it's covered. The next question they ask is, okay, this is from like the 1950s and 60s. It's like the old push button thing. You might have seen it even on the 70s show or something like that, or maybe the Brady Bunch. What happens if it goes out? We replace it or we repair it. Now, the chances of repairing something like that, I will tell you from my experience, is very little. We have hard enough time getting parts for stuff that's newer and ready to go. So what we do is a replacement. And when we do a replacement on older appliances and things like that, we do not depreciate it based on how old it is. If it is a double oven, it has X, Y, and Z features on it, we replace it with a double oven with X, Y, and Z features on it in a 2023 model, maybe 2022, depending on what we can get. No penalty. We install it. Now, installation on something like that can get complicated. If it's a different size and stuff, we run into that. You do have to cover it yourself, a little bit of carpentry occasionally to have that fit in, but we take care of the appliance for you. They also have the option to cash out, which means if they say, okay, I really don't need a double oven here, I want a single oven, you can cash out, or you can do the opposite. I want a double oven, it's a single oven. You can get the cash out from us, go and purchase your own item, or your customer can, and get a brand new one in there. And that applies to all the appliances, dishwashers, refrigerators, washer dryers, all the stuff that we cover. And here's another big thing is this company, American Home Shield, has on their top plan, which you guys order most of the time, a $7,000 limit on appliances. So you don't have to worry if somebody's got this really fancy dishwasher that we can't fix, because we're gonna, again, with all the different features, we're gonna take care of your customers. So that's part of our livable and forgivable coverage. And so a lot of people like that. That's one of the reasons that we were chosen to be a preferred warranty vendor for you guys, because Century 21 has a tremendous reputation in the industry. And they only choose folks, as the other vendors can say, it's not easy to get in here. It's not easy to stay in here. We have to perform. And this is one of the reasons and one of the things that we do to perform. So there's many more, but I just wanted to talk about one today. Any questions?
I wasn't here from the beginning, but how much is the fee when You sent a guy to be able to
It's a-
explain,
That's a good question. It's $100 service call fee.
no return, nothing, just need to be paid right now.
Yeah, just $100. So for example, if you had a claim, and it's a double oven, we'll just use that as an example. The guy comes out, can't repair it, motherboard's gone. Motherboard's more expensive than replacing the unit. Guy totals it out, says, okay, look, we can't fix this. We can't, not only can we not get the part, but the part's too expensive, so we're gonna give you this amount of money, or you can have us replace it with this double oven. Most people just choose the replacement, I'll be honest with you. Then we come, when it comes in, we can bring it down and we replace it. Same thing happens if you had a heater, if you had an air conditioner, if you had a water heater. If you had any of those things, you just pay the $100 one time.
Okay.
Now, here's another case scenario. Say this gentleman over here, the guy comes to his house for the double oven. He says, I don't agree with that. I don't think you can fix this. Okay, I don't like this guy. I don't think you can fix this. You can call into American Home Shield and get a second opinion. Okay, so if the second opinion comes in as the same diagnosis as the first opinion, meaning they say, okay, we can fix this for real, then he would have to pay the $100 service call fee for the next person. If the new person comes in and says, hey, you're right, this can't be replaced, or hey, you're right, this isn't working right, then we go with the second opinion person and we go with what the person says. So we try and take care of your people every and which way that we can. We're always trying to work to keep your customers happy and represent Century 21 the best that we can.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And he'll leave his cards and information here. Next, for our speaker here today, guest speaker. You guys, she has created an amazing business just based on her SOI and how to create momentum and create that referral based business. She's here to share her secrets and strategies. So Lindsay Godwin. You're welcome. Now, let me set this up, but you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
That was a very nice introduction. So I'm Lindsay Godwin. I'm blinding myself right there. I'm newer to Century 21, came over just May of last year, and I'm loving it so far. So we'll have the opportunity to meet more of you one-on-one as I spend a little more time here with you guys. But I'd love an opportunity to come and meet with you guys. Creating momentum is a good thing to discuss at the beginning of the year, right? Kicking off the year. Everyone has new resolutions in January, right? Kicking off the year with new energy and getting things rolling. So it's a great opportunity to talk about this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Let's make sure I'm clicking this the right direction.
You can click it towards that way, but there you go.
I got it. Okay.
Turn off the light. What do you guys think? Yes, no, it's good. Good.
Okay. Okay. Oh. Going faster than I wanted it here too. Yeah. I'm just giving you a preview of the whole thing. Yeah.
I think it's in probably like the slideshow mode. Hold on. Yeah, or whatever it's called. Yeah. I think it was an autoplay. That's what it was.
Okay. Okay, well, the first thing I want to talk about with creating momentum is the relational business cycle. So all of my business that I've created, and this is my 9th year in real estate, has all been relational business. So there's really kind of 2 ways of approaching business in real estate from my perspective anyway. One's relational and one's transactional. Can you guys tell me the difference between the 2? Anybody? Take a stab at it.
Transactions, your ex-clients. Relationals, your friends, family. Stuff like that.
I would say that relational business, you're focusing on building the relationship, having reoccurring clients for transaction. You're just looking at the transaction, not.
There you go. Very good. One is a numbers game, the other is a relationship game, right? So there's a cycle that goes with the relational business. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. So this I very much have this kind of built as a wheel on purpose, right? So to build momentum, you really have to build a vehicle to move your business forward. So let's talk a little bit about what that vehicle looks like and how you build that. So the first step of it, let's see if I can get this going. Which way do I click it?
Just. No.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. I'll get it working by
There
then.
you go. There you
All
go.
right. Okay, the first is to cultivate. So to cultivate is to create or to make things grow, right? So first you have to cultivate those relationships or create relationships with new people. That's obviously going to be the first step in a relational business cycle. You have to create relationships. Okay, so meeting new clients, meeting new people. And that's an ongoing process in your business. Right? You always want to be adding new people to your sphere of influence, or I always call it my database. Calling it my SOI sounds a little bit weird to me, or sphere of influence sounds weird. It's my database, because that's how I track all of my information. It's a group of people that I always track and building on a continual basis. The other is cultivating those relationships. You're continually adding to that garden of business, right? Yeah, you're nurturing it. This is a very intentional picture right there. It's a garden that you're trying to make grow, right? You're always feeding into that soil of business, right? You have to add nutrients to it. So you're always looking not only to add new relationships, but to add nourishment to those relationships as well. Okay, so that's obviously the very first step on that wheel. The second is connecting. What are some different ways that we can connect with those people in our database or in our sphere?
Through email.
Okay.
Phone calls,
Yep.
emails, mail.
Mail. Yep, there's another way. Oh, sorry, I thought you were. Okay,
Client appreciation.
yep. Different events and things. Yeah. What else? Okay, email,
Website,
mail, websites,
Facebook.
social.
Just reminding them like, oh, it's been a year, congratulations, stuff like that.
Anniversary of their purchase, things like that.
Videos.
Videos. Yeah. Anything else? Some other ways you guys connect. Sure, take your clients out to lunch or coffee.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
With them for lunch.
Yeah. Your video messages. There's tons of different ways, right? One of my favorites that I do is I write personal notes and send them in the mail. So, yep. It's one of my very favorite ways to connect with people. It's very old school. And it has a big impact. It's just take a moment and write a personal note to people. That's not something that people do very much anymore.
Do you think a personal note is not a big deal? It's just sending only just a postcard. Do you think it's better to do the personal or
Yes.
just the postcard?
Personal note.
Personal.
If you think about it if you get like a postcard in the mail that's just pre-printed with some information versus if I was to write you a note that said, it was so great to see you the other day. I really appreciated our conversation. Thanks so much for taking the moment to talk with me, which is going to have a bigger impact. Which will you remember a week from
Personally
today?
write it.
Exactly.
How
Yep.
many do you do a day?
If I'm really doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I will do 2 to 3 a day, every day. Takes
Okay, so I-
5 to 10 minutes, right? But if you spread that out over a year, then that's a heck of a lot of personal notes, right? So it doesn't
Okay.
takes 5-10 minutes to do that. But over the course of a year, that's a few hundred notes that I'll do.
I don't know if this is the right type of question, but for like mail, one of the things that I struggle with is actually getting like an address, right? So
Sure.
is there some technique or super secret sauce that I don't know about to like get
Yes, to
addresses?
get somebody's addresses.
Yeah, not like people that you see all the time, but people that you want to connect with that you
Yeah.
don't really see a lot. of.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different ways. The absolute best way to easily get somebody's address is I'm having a party and I'd love to invite you. Client events. Right, client events are my secret sauce. I absolutely love client events because they give you a reason to call. They give you a reason to ask somebody for their address. Right, they give you a reason to follow up with somebody. They give you a reason to send them a personal note. It was so great to see you. They give you a reason to connect in every single different way out there. You can, any different way you can think of to connect with someone in your database, you can do by throwing a client event. I throw multiple client events throughout the year just because I'm like, what am I gonna call somebody about? I don't even know what to talk to them about. Oh, I can throw a party and tell them I'm throwing a party. I'll tell them about that.
Well, tell us about your client events too.
Yeah.
What?
Well, when you say client events, what exactly does that involve? What do you do?
Different things. Some of the different ones that I'll do, like, I'll do a movie party, like I'll rent out a theater and do a party. I've done a ladies charity event where I have rented out the tea room at the Grand America.
Mhm.
And I'll do a different charity, like I did the Dress for Success, where I had all the ladies basically bring their clothing that they're no longer using, their business clothing and purses and things, and they brought in donations for that. And had different, like my different vendors and things that I work with, donated baskets, and we did a raffle for prizes based off of the things that they brought in. So it was just grand tea at the Grand America. That's one that I've done. I've done car washes. I've done a day at the ballpark. I've done where they've come to a local nursery and picked up a custom made Mother's Day basket. I've all kinds of stuff. So I can give you 100 different ideas for client. I've done barbecues in my backyard. I've done dance parties. I've done all sorts of things. Whatever things you enjoy, you can turn into a client event.
Just so everyone knows, we have 2 company client events, so we'll have an Easter egg hunt in April, and then the pumpkin patch in October, and those are incredibly inexpensive for you to do. You're not spending a couple thousand, you're spending a couple $100. So
Yep. Yeah, they're easy ways to do inexpensive client events, and those are key ones to do. Even like the movie party one, there are different theaters that, and the one that I would recommend, if that's one that you want us to do, that's an inexpensive one. The Jordan Landing Theater is the one that I would recommend, because there is no fee to rent out the theater. They only have you do the tickets for the theater itself.
What's the minimum?
They have different theater sizes that you can do. So you tell them how many tickets, or like how many tickets you're thinking of doing, and they'll tell you which theater size you can rent. And they even give you a discount on the ticket itself. So
great.
some of the different theaters, there's like a $500 fee for renting, I think, plus the ticket itself. I'm buying all the tickets. Why do I have to rent the theater on top of it? That's dumb. Why can't I just buy all the tickets?
You said that Jordan Landing?
Jordan Landing
West
Theater.
Jordan?
Yeah, out in West Jordan.
It's not the one in 90 and
No.
State Street.
No, it's out off of 78th, just past Banger.
Like 40.
Yeah. So the last one I did out there, it cost me $550 for 75 seats.
75 cents.
that's great.
So it was
$550.
$550 for 75 clients. And I sent out invitations to it. I think my invitations ended up, I spent like $100 on invitations. I called everybody, sent everybody a video message, text message, did follow-up calls to everybody. I even did follow-up calls saying, hey, I'm sorry that you couldn't make it to this one. Here's my next one that I'm gonna do. Yeah, super easy.
How many days in advance do you need to be able to send all these invitations to these people?
I have a whole party plan. So if you guys want like my breakdown of the whole party plan,
I would like to.
just reach out to me, email me, and I will send it to you individually. Yeah, I've got full details for it. Client parties are huge win. Absolutely. Yeah, so as far as like different ways to connect, the ways that you connect are important. Which way do you think has the most value? Oh, go ahead.
Face to face.
There you go. Absolutely key. Okay, 'cause if you ask, yeah, with the way that you do connect has ways you connect have more impact. Right, sending it like when it's your birthday and somebody sends you a text message versus somebody calling,
That's right. It's more.
right? There's a difference, like if, or somebody sending you, posting on your Facebook page. Like 100 people might post on your Facebook page, but you probably don't even notice half of them because so many people take 2 seconds to do that versus somebody calling you. Right, there, it's, so take the time. People remember when people take the time. The biggest impact in doing this, and the whole reason for this whole cycle and building your relationship and building that momentum, is to stay top of mind for people. Because 90% of people, according to NAR, would use their agent again. The sad part is 2 years after they buy or sell their house, they can't remember their agent's name. Why do you think that is?
She don't stay in touch.
Exactly. People don't stay in touch. You have to stay in touch to stay top of mind. And it doesn't even have to be every time going, hey, do you want to buy a house? You want to sell your house? Are you ready? They just sold their house. How often do most people move?
5 or 7 years.
Right. So every time you talk to them, it's not, do you want to sell your house? Are you ready to move? Right? Yeah, you want to say, hey, do you know anybody else that I can help? But staying on top of mind and reminding them that this is what I do for a living. That's the whole point of it, right? But it's letting them know that you're there, that you continue to care about them, that you have this great service that you offer. That's why you want to continue to do these things. You need to remember, you need to help remind them that you're still in their life, that you still care.
I have
So-
a question.
It's connecting. Yeah.
Since COVID, things have changed.
Uh-huh.
A little bit in the way how you need to approach to people. So what do you think, based on, looks like you do a lot of action in this stuff?
Yeah.
I haven't really done anything like that. It's just referral, that's all what I've been doing. But do you think we should be able to maybe be more tender in the message right now that we are sending right now these days? Because there's a lot of question about, homes that are increasing their value, or are they stay okay, rates are going to be increasing. I mean, all these questions, which I'm sure all of us will receiving.
Yeah.
What is your advice right now at this point?
Yeah. So
What we should do?
one of the key things that you want to make sure that you're offering value to your clients, right? So one of the ways that I connect is like, I'll stop by and do client visits. Do you guys know what Popeyes are?
Whatever.
So you stop by your client's houses, you'll drop in for a few minutes, do a little visit. I always bring a little gift. So this is an example of my one for this month. Yeah, the boot bean, right? And you can Google pop by, you'll find 1,000 different examples. So this is my this month, just popping by to wish you a happy new year. So it's just a little gift. I drop by in person, face-to-face visit. So in sensitive times, like you brought up COVID, right? So when COVID broke out, like how am I gonna do my face-to-face visits with people if we're not even supposed to see people?
Right.
I ordered a bunch of face masks and dropped them off on people's doorsteps and said, I hope that your family stays healthy and safe. If you have any questions on how this is affecting your market or what the future looks like, feel free to call, email, or text me anytime. And just left them on people's doorstep.
Right.
People always have questions about what's going on with the market. And it's good to remind them that you're a source of information and value. Right now, again, people are worried what's going on with the housing market. It's a good time to either send a personal note, or you can send a postcard, you can send a letter. Sending a market update is a good time too, right? So you can if you send a monthly newsletter, I send a monthly newsletter and an email that's related with that as well to my clients. That's a good time to send out that information that says, hey, this is what's going on with the market. Usually I try to do a quarterly market update so that people know what's going on. And not each one of my newsletters is going to be, this is what's going on with the market.
Right.
Because people get bored with that. Like, I don't really care about moving, but it'll
So you say
be
every 3 months?
usually about every 3 months. One will tend to be, this is what's happening in Utah. This is what's happening kind of nationwide. And then I try to do once a year, this is what's happening in your neighborhood. Obviously, that's much more time intensive. That's why I do that once a year. Because I have clients that are across the state. And when it's neighborhood wide, I apologize, not neighborhood wide, county wide. Neighborhood wide would be insane. Oh, the idea of that just made me want to cry a little bit, how time intensive that would be. Countywide, so I'll break it down a little bit more. But yeah, because you want to remind people, again, that you're a source of value all the time, right?
Is that information you get it from the MLS, or there's a?
Yeah. Yeah, the MLS sends that information to us all the time, right? We get market updates in our email. We get infographics, they do that work for us. You can pull it off of that all the time and send it. So I'll send that newsletter out to my clients. I send it with a follow-up email. And I do that quarterly. And then my newsletters in between will be additional information, like how to give your home great curb appeal. How to prepare your home in the event that you're looking to move. How to, what are the tax benefits when you move, things like that. I'll also, speaking of tax benefits, for clients that have recently purchased or sold a home just before tax season, usually around February, March. In February, I will reach out to my clients and let them know, hey, you sold a home last year, you're going to want to make sure that you let your accountant know, here's a copy of your settlement statement. I just emailed to you so that you can send that over to them. Because we have all that information in our dot loop.
Lindsay, someone online has a question saying, how much do you budget each month to do these things that you're talking about right now?
That's a loaded question.
And actually, they want to see your smiling face, so they're like, can't you look toward the camera?
Yeah, so would not get blinded.
Yeah,
Can
there
they
you
see,
go.
can you see me here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh, we said- But that's a great question. They
Yeah.
have how much, because your business is mainly based on SOI referrals, so how
Yep.
much do you budget for that?
So client parties, I do one bigger client event where I spend typically about $2,500 for my A clients. And then I do my smaller client events, where usually I have two that are about $500. They're about 500 to 1,000 for the event itself. And then one that's typically around $1,000 to $1,500. So they're really small. They're not super expensive to do those events themselves. As far as the like postcards and newsletters, those types of things, it's a few $100s a month when you include postage and printing and things like that. It's really not.
Because it's consistent, right? You do
Yeah.
that, okay.
Yeah, it's really not expensive. The overall cost of relational marketing is super cheap, you guys. It's the least expensive way to run your business.
Could you give us the referrals where, because sometimes people say it's so cheap, but we don't know where to go, so.
As far as where you get the
Where
referrals,
to get where to get the postcards or anything like that.
I create mine through Canva. Canva. Yeah, it's CANVA. That's like, this is the this presentation's built on Canva. There's templates on there that you can do through Canva. Vistaprint, you can print things through there. And Canva's at least less expensive, honestly, than Vistaprint. You can use the templates on there and you can print and they'll print it to a FedEx store.
And you guys also, we have
Yeah.
Brand Studio
Yeah.
on 21 online
So it's gonna
that
build-
makes things
print
very
things there.
simple. And if you have questions, remember, it's just marketing@c21everest.com. Ask any questions. If you're planning to do that, they can help you out as well.
So I've been doing it for a long time and I'm pretty finicky and picky about what I like to send to my clients, and I have a specific taste of what I like to send. And I would say starting out, just go to the stuff that C21 already has ready. Like, don't overthink it, don't overdo it. Like, our brokerage already has a bunch of stuff ready. Like, as you're starting out, go to the stuff that's already there. The work's already done for you. Don't spend too much time. When I started, I'm like, oh, well, it needs to be very particular, and I spent so much wasted time trying to figure out exactly what to send out. It helped overall because I kind of created this whole thing and now I just plug things in to the point now where it's like, well, I don't even need to do that because I started this whole system and I have it set. But yeah, just go to the stuff that's already there. If you need to pop something else in, use a tool like Canva, which is, they have a free system.
Just real quickly, one of the things that American Home Shield offers is we do an HVAC tune-up. So it's a great way to contact your people in the fall
Yep.
and in the spring. It
Absolutely.
shows that you really care.
Yeah.
You can get a list of who's purchased the warranty from us, and we have a huge renewal rate. So most of the time, people have been with us for several years, so it's something that you can continually call
Yeah.
and say, hey, did you happen to get your furnace tuned up? And
Yep.
that just brings another reason to contact them for a good, good cause.
Yeah. It's a great reason to call. You make yourself, I do like a marketing
Yeah.
calendar each year, and I'll put like, what's my reason to call for this month? You make a note in spring, call to remind to do AC tune-up. In the fall, call to remind to do a fall tune-up. And you promote your home warranty company, promote your AC vendor. Because it helps create those relationships, not only with your clients, but your vendors as well. When you're referring your business relationship partners, they need to help refer you as well. That's great. Okay, the next piece on that wheel, your cycle, is the care that you provide. So this piece is obviously incredibly important, right? So you've created those relationships, you're connecting with them. You have to make sure that you're giving the best care possible, right? It's not going to matter if you're helping these people buy and sell a home and then you're not doing a good job of it. Right?
Yeah.
If you're not creating, and this is These are raving fans over here, if you weren't sure what that is. Have any of you guys ever read this book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. If you haven't, you should. It'll give you really good ideas. A way to go. It's above and beyond.
Raving fans.
You know? Yeah, you can pass that around. It's one of my favorite business books. It'll give you some wild ideas on how to exceed expectations. Because it's not just about being a great real estate agent and using the knowledge that you have, but you need to do more than what's expected, right? Doing what's expected is the bare minimum of being a good agent. It really is. Anybody can do what's expected. You need to go beyond that, right? To create momentum in your business, you need to create an advocate. My favorite clients are the ones that go out and do advertising for me. I have one client, her name's Ashley, who literally gets mad at people that don't use me. I'm not kidding. She gets mad at people. I have seen her yell at people that didn't use me. I'm like, Ashley, it's okay. It really is. I appreciate your enthusiasm. She's like, no, they don't know how wrong they are. I appreciate you. I really do. It's okay. She's like, well, they'll learn.
Love it.
Appreciate it. But she's an advocate. I know if she knows of anyone even talking about buying or selling a house, she's going to tell them to use me. She refers multiple people to me every year. And she was one of my first clients. The first house that I helped her purchase was $150,000. I helped her sell that house. Helped her buy her next house that was $300,000. Helped her sell that house. I helped her buy her next house and sell that house. She's been through a few relationships and helped her buy her next house. So, and this is in the course of 8 years, been through multiple transactions, but she has referred 17 clients to me. Yeah. Right. And she was a first-time home buyer. She had been through 3 agents. She was not an easy client to work with, but she is a serious advocate for me and she fights to send me clients. But the whole reason that she does that is because she wasn't easy, but I stuck with her and she had tons and tons of questions and I was patient and went above and beyond. And I sat down with her when I could tell that she was frustrated and didn't know what was going on and didn't understand the financing. And I sat down with her and said, let's just take time. Let's go through. You're not sure if this is the right house. Let's walk through it 3, 4, 5 times. It doesn't matter how many times. Let's go through and make sure that this is right. You're a young single mom that isn't sure what's going on. Let's make sure it's right. Right? I didn't get impatient because the relationship was more important than the paycheck. And that's what things we have to remember, right? Because a lot of times people go, well, I've got all these other clients that I need to take care of. I'm not going to spend time on this $150,000 house. But she turned out into 17 clients,
You never know.
right? She's my top referring client that I have.
What do you do for her?
Anything she wants. Really, she's my number one. She's my number one client. Anything she needs.
I had a question on that.
Yeah.
So at the end of a transaction, how do you know yourself that you did a good job? And then also a follow-up question to that is like, what do you do different that maybe most agents don't do, or what do you see most agents miss during the service process?
That's a lot of questions. Yeah, you're good. One way that I gauge myself is if I can give a personalized closing gift. That tells me that I've taken the time to get to know my client. So that tells me a lot myself. So I always give a closing gift, which I'm sure most of you guys do. But it tells me how well I have gotten to know my client. If I can't give them something that's personalized, then I probably haven't done as good of a job as I normally would. I haven't taken the time to get to know them. So that's how I gauge it myself personally. And I ask them for a review, which I've gotten poorly out of the habit of. So I like that the Real Satisfied reviews go out for me. So when I forget, those go out. So that helps me as well. But I ask at the closing table as well, is there anything else that I can do or that you can recommend that I do better or that I can learn from to help my next client? Don't be afraid to ask that question. If you're asking for a review too, it's always good to do at the closing table because that's when the clients are, one, if they're going to give a review, that's the best time to do it. They will remember things right there and then. But it's good to ask, is there anything that I can do to help my next client better? Because they may not be as afraid to do it without making you feel bad,
Yeah.
right?
Don't wanna
Say,
hurt
I want to learn, what can I do next time that might help my next client a little bit better?
you. That's a better one, yeah.
Did I answer all the questions or is there anything else?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, this is the most important part for momentum. It's continuing. After you're doing all of these things, we tend to get busy. We've cultivated the relationships, we're connecting, we're giving all this great care and the referrals start coming in. We get busy with the business. We forget to go back and continue the cycle over and over again. Right? So momentum is built as force gained by motion or by a series of events. If you don't continue moving that cycle forward and doing it over and over and over again, we lose momentum. I was actually talking to Ruby about this today and telling her the thing I need you to help me with is pushing me to do those basics over and over again, because I've gone poorly out of habit. And the reason that I have is because I've been doing this for 9 years and my business literally comes to me. In all honesty, it does. My last several transactions have called me and said, hey, I need to buy or sell a house. Go, okay, cool. And I haven't had to do anything for it. It has been that easy for the past 2 years, honestly. I've had to do very little, very few phone calls outward, very few client visits or events or anything. I've cut back seriously on what I think I worked 20 hours a week last year.
Can you share with everyone just your schedule and when you fit this into your busy schedule to continue to do so it doesn't get in the way of their everyday?
Yes. So when I'm doing it the way I'm supposed to be doing it, and how I will be doing it, holding forward that Ruby will holding me accountable to on my best days. The big pieces have to come first. They need to be done in the morning. For me, I have to do it first thing in the morning. Have you guys heard the analogy of like the rocks in the sand?
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay, for those that haven't, imagine you've got a glass container, you've got a pitcher of sand and a bucket of rocks, and you've got to fit it all in this glass container. Which do you put in first?
Rocks.
Right? Because if you put in the sand first, you're never going to fit all the rocks in. Right? Put in the rocks first, the sand is going to filter in around all those big rocks. You need to make this relationship, the relationship building and the caretaking, the connection pieces have to be your rocks. For me, that means I have to do it first thing in the morning before I start looking over my contract pieces, before I even, if I can do, yeah, before I dive into cleaning up emails or even responding to emails if I can, before I follow up on my contract pieces, before I go out and show houses if I can, any of that stuff. I have to make sure I'm doing my connection pieces, writing my notes. Any of that stuff has to be my big rocks that I do first thing in the morning. Because all of the other stuff, I'm going to make sure I get done. I'm going to make sure that I respond to my emails. I'm going to make sure that I review my client's contracts. I'm going to make sure I go show those houses, right? All of those things are going to get done. I'm definitely going to make sure that I take my clients out. I'm not going to forget those things, but I can easily put off calling my clients, checking in, going to do some client visits. I can put those off for tomorrow. That's fine. It's easy enough. I put those things off for a year. It's that easy because I know that I've been built up enough business that I'll probably have a client call me next week and tell me they want to sell the house. It happened last week. It'll probably happen next week. As for the past year. But eventually it won't happen anymore. Right? So you can't take those things for granted. You have to make sure that you do those things in the morning. At least for me, that's how it works best. Maybe you guys are more disciplined. Probably not. Make sure you get those rocks in first and let the sand filter in, because you'll make sure that those things that have to get done will get done. The things that can be optional, get them done first. Get the things that are harder, the things that are too easy to push away, make them be the things that you do first in the morning.
That's awesome. Any questions?
Yes, yes. Can I get your email?
Yes. It is Lindsay, LINDSEY. I'll give you the short, easy version at T as in Tom, R as in Robert, T as in Tom, Utah, spelled out, UTAH.com. we were just talking about this, but with the rocks, the consistency is key. If you're not being consistent, you're not gonna build that momentum. Right? You have to provide a consistent level of contact and care for the people in your sphere of influence, leading to a steady stream of repeat business and referrals. The rewards of doing this, you have the highest closing rate for referral business. Okay, anybody have any idea what the closing rate is for cold leads? It's about 1%. Do you know what it is for referral based business? 70 is probably about a little bit low. You wanna know how many I close if someone refers?
95%.
Dang close. If somebody calls me with a referral, it takes 2 referrals for me to get one closed transaction. 50% automatic closing rate. 1 versus 50. That's it. And I don't pay for any of those. At a cold leads, you're typically paying for that 1%. I'm not paying for the 50%. Yeah, I pay for my client events and things like that. Very minimal cost. The other key thing I love about this is the trust equity is already earned. Somebody's referring, they're already trusting you with their business.
Miss Lindsay, how did you start? Did you have, so you have 9 years of experience, but when you first started and you didn't have, the data, your database, what did you do?
I did have my database. I already knew people.
You're a new people.
I made a list of everybody that I
So
knew.
even before you started real estate, you
Yep.
just went off of your.
I made a list of everybody that I knew
friends, your-
and started calling and visiting and sending them information about real estate. Yep. I did. I literally made a list of everybody that I knew and started from there. My original list was 42 people.
And then you categorize them also by A, B, and C.
Yep.
Yeah. Most productive, your most
Yeah,
active.
my most likely to refer to my least likely to refer. And the ones that I thought were most likely to refer are the people that I contacted most often.
How many do you have, like A, B, E?
You do, your A's are your most likely to refer. B's are the ones that are likely to refer. C's are ones that you need to probably teach how to refer. And then D's are ones that are not likely to refer, so you really just pull them out of your database. It's A through C.
So just based on your experience, right? So how long would you think it would take? An agent that started doing this, that really didn't incorporate this now, but started doing this, about how long would it take for them to build up a decent business?
It all depends on how hard you work, really, and how hard you connect. For me, when I started, and I started in January with 42 people on my list and closed 9 transactions that year.
Pretty good.
I thought so. I mean, it was a decent paycheck for me. Yeah. This is as of this I pulled this actually this morning, just to give you a breakdown of like my overall stuff. This is my referral database. 49 point, basically 50% of all my business was referrals out of my database. 33% are repeat clients. My business network, so people that have referred other business people that refer to me. Other sources of referrals, so not necessarily out of my database. But this sign calls, internet, other advertising sources, 5%. And I just total transparency, even looking at my adjusted gross commission. So after brokerage splits and everything in 8 years, it's $1 million worth of business out of referral. So it absolutely works if you work in.
You know how we're afraid to call the people that we know in our spare moments? Look where the business is. And it's such a great time to call them. It's the beginning of the year. Springs are approaching in the next couple of months, like to start reaching out to them. First, your top 50. I mean, Nick talks about that often, right? Like have your top 50 clients and then categorize them for the most important. If you don't have them, guess what? You have a phone directory, you have your contact list, go from A to Z and see who you can put in there.
It's a lot more fun to call people that you know than you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot more fun to do business this way.
So.
I got people that are like, how do you do business? I'm like, well, I meet people for coffee, I take them out to drinks, I throw parties, and they're like, no, what do you do for work? I'm like, "Nothing." And then sometimes we go and see houses and, oh yeah, I write contracts too. Like, can I do what you do? I'm like, yeah, but you have to work really hard. They're like, doesn't sound like you work. Like, it's really stressful though. Sometimes it's really hard. Like, sure it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me for if you want my client party breakdown or other questions or anything. I'm happy to share any other insights.
What's your phone number?
801-870-7859.
It's okay, I'll just.
Are you-
I have your email.
Do you have an office here or?
Yeah.
Which floor?
On the second floor.
Oh, where is it?
Yeah, let's give
Thanks for
Lindsay a
coming.
hand. Thanks for getting on.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
How come I never see you? How come I never see you?
I said, me?
Yeah, I think it's you.
I've seen you.
You did? Some are designers, so I've been. For the month. Not all, but.
I've only been here.
I wanna
a little
get-
bit.
I want to take you to lunch.
Okay.
We need to talk about that. I just need to get into my email.
This is another good book too that I meant to mention.
Oh,
by the way.
I want to take pictures to you. Let's see. Thank you for your time today. For the great class. Thank you so much. There's another book. Who got
They're
the
around
book?
here somewhere.
Who got the other book?
Right here.
It's about. Yeah, it's already zoomed in, so it should be okay. I go under this, yes, yeah. Great job.
That was awesome.
That's from Dylan at Inspiro. This is a cheat sheet of, things and programs they're providing and it's. Yeah, and if you want to set something up, it's on the third floor as soon as you walk into the double doors on the left.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to get in contact with them, that's maybe it's.
I don't know.
Tony Robbins.
Oh, so
Yeah, yeah, we're doing live.
Did you?
Dan, did you want to dance in here again with that hotel? I mean, take no. Yeah, so should, we can, I can get